we all love a bit of cinematic mode. Creates a bit more of a feature for everyone. But yeah, look, I'm not going to look at the camera. I got to focus on driving. And lots of thoughts come through your head when you're driving. So, you know, this could become a thing where I just talk while I'm driving, because I know that I get some of my best thoughts and my most creative work when I'm driving. And so many times I have to pull over. I'm like, oh shit, I got to write that down because that was amazing. But anyway, I just want to touch more on that short form content that I posted on my social media, driving along wearing this shirt, whatever. But basically what I said, if you haven't seen it, please go back and watch it. This will make more sense otherwise, but I'm going to explain it in a long form context, because obviously Instagram Reels don't allow us to do more than 90 seconds, I believe it is. So I said that, guys, you need to prioritize yourself. It's not selfish to prioritize yourself over everything and everyone else. And I'm not saying you need to be an asshole about it, but you should never take the eye off the ball of yourself, because what will happen, right? And I'll give you an example, right? I'm going to give you an example of me, and I'm going to give you an example of other people that I know. I would say over the last 10 plus years, I've prioritized myself and done so much self-improvement work to get me physically strong, mentally strong, and financially pretty well off. Over that sort of last 10 years plus, you know, sort of 10 to 12 years, let's say that, you know, and I've invested heavily time and financially into doing that, because I know that that's the best way forward for myself and my own path and my own journey. So I started to do really well at the end of those, you know, let's say after about 10 years. But the last 2 years, I kind of stopped prioritizing myself as much and started trying to prioritize other people over myself and other things over myself, because I thought that that's what would take me to the next level. But not only that, I genuinely wanted to bring other people up, really up. I wanted to bring them all the way. I wanted to bring people onto the levels that I felt that I was at. And I don't say that in some kind of narcissistic, egotistical way and condescending way kind of thing. You know, some people can misconstrue those words to sound like. But I know that most of you won't do that. Most of you will listen to those words and probably relate to a lot of it. And if you can't relate to a lot of it, perhaps you're quite young. You know, I'm 34 years old and I've lived quite a colourful life, which I'm pretty happy and grateful for. But yeah, so over the last sort of 2 years, I put everything at everyone else first. And that's what I thought would take me and everyone else around me to the next level. Boy, was I wrong. Honestly, in my life, I've had to kind of figure a lot of things out, you know, personally, and learn things the hard way. I've never really had someone to sort of say, hey, Nick, you know, you need to know this about this, or I've never really had that guidance. So I've had to figure a lot of things out on myself about the world, and I'm very observant. Even though I can act stupid, it's one of my superpowers. I'm actually quite intelligent, and I can and sometimes acting stupid can be a really big benefit for myself, but it's not all the time, but it's just when I need to. And yeah, man, I can't tell you how much further downhill, and I sort of got to a point of where I couldn't add any value or give anything else to anyone, because I stopped prioritizing myself. Physically, I was in the worst shape I've ever been, because I didn't stop training, but I stopped training as heavy and hard and as consistently, and I definitely didn't prioritize it when I should have. And I blamed other things for that, like, you know, I blamed relationships for that, because I was putting time, you know, more time and effort into that than myself. And I was putting more time and effort into my businesses and my clients and all the other stuff that I got going on, that I stopped prioritizing my own self-improvement. I didn't listen to nowhere near as much as of books and audiobooks that I'd usually do, and podcasts and self-improvement things, and waking up earlier and doing the daily work, and my diet, got poor, and it was a weird feeling for me, and it was a weird time, but I kind of feel like I had to go through it. You know what? I could probably say I probably hit rock bottom, not of and I don't want to sit here and say, oh, mental health and all this sort of stuff. That's not the case. Did I feel like absolute garbage? Yes. Did I feel sad and depressed? But it's not a mental health thing. That's a normal. Those are normal emotions to feel when you know that the way you're going is not the right way to go. It's strayed away from your path. These are normal emotions. And so when people say, oh, I'm sad, I'm depressed, it's like, no, you're not. Sadness is a normal thing. You just got to fight through it, and you build more tolerance, and you build more, and you got to use that sadness to turn it around and use motivation from that pain. And that's really what pain is using motivation from that pain in order to get to the long-term fulfillment and the long-term pleasure. And so I know I'm going sort of all over the place here. It's kind of, I know you're probably following along and you're listening. A lot of people are probably relating, and, but and so one day I got to a point, like I said, at rock bottom. I got to a point and I had no more money before I had so much money I didn't know what to do with, almost. And so I had no more money. I was out of shape. I'd say the respect from my peers went down. The respect from people around me went down. I lost all respect for myself. What else? There was probably a few other things that, you guys, if you're relating to this, you could obviously know exactly what I was going through. And it's like, I'm not trying to say this is the most horrible thing in the world. It's not. Like, I'm very realistic about things. But I one day just looked in the mirror and I thought, who the fuck are you? What have you become? All this work and all this sacrifice that you've put in over the last 10 plus years more, and to just almost throw it all away based on bad decisions about not putting myself first and not prioritizing myself. I just thought, what the fuck have you become? So that was like a real sort of, I punched myself in the face, not physically, but that was like a reality check. And I said, because I was probably in denial, to myself for a while. I didn't even want to look in the mirror, because I knew I wasn't happy with what I saw back. And one day I just decided to just look in the mirror, and I thought, damn, bro, like you have aged, 10 years in the last 2. You are in poor physical condition. Like I would literally try and run like a kilometer, and I wouldn't even be able to run a kilometer. But I wasn't in like, super bad shape. It's just like my cardiovascular fitness was shot. I could hardly, I was always relatively strong because I've got a good foundation of weight training, but definitely my strength was massively down. And, if your physical strength is massively down, so is your mental strength. So they work hand in hand. And so, again, I could go so much into more detail about this, and I don't mind sharing this stuff because, there's not enough people kind of sharing these experiences. And it's like I turned my life to a life that I hated. It's probably, that's probably harsh. I'm very kind of extreme and I'm very harsh on myself, but I definitely had a lot of hatred towards myself after having so much love for myself for so many years. And that's because I took away the priorities of putting me first. And again, when I say like putting me first, I'm not saying fuck everyone else can go get fucked. I'm not saying hi to anyone. I'm not trusting anyone. I'm not being friends with anyone. Like, dude, there's good people around you, and a lot of people have good intentions. I know you see these quotes, trust no one and all this sort of stuff, but hey, you got to have some trust for people, man. And you live and learn, and the more, you've been screwed over, that makes you stronger and have more of an instinct about who you can trust in the future and things like that. So yeah, guys, man, like, I'm on my way back. The last 6 months I've been waking up early. I've been ensuring I'm doing my cardio every day. I have a set diet in place. I have a set training regime in place. I have set hours of work and things that I'm doing. And, things do get moved around based on the schedule that I'm on, but I'm on a path now to going back to where I was and beyond. But now I have the mental resiliency that nothing's going to stop me, because I went through the shit. And it's nobody else's fault but my own. Nobody else's fault. And that's something that I had to come to grips with, because I think in those weaker moments where I was not my best, and I tried to hide it from everyone. I hid it from everyone. I really did. Because I don't want to burden other people with my own problems. I'm always the guy that people come to with their problems, and I can usually give them some cold hard truths about thingy. And so I was probably in a bit of denial. I was in a bit of a victim state, I would say. And so self-sabotaging, you could say. I don't want to say suicide thoughts, but I think every man has thought about that at some stage in their life. And for the caveat, I would never do it, but it's always crosses every man's mind. And so, when you hear people say, I was contemplating suicide, every man has done that, I believe. Every single man in their life, when they've gone through shit for long enough, that's just about broken them, they've contemplated it. And I know that everybody can relate. So that's not me saying, here's my sob story, I was going to do this. Absolutely not. I will not have that. I will never do that. And, so I think you can all relate from that. So so the message, number one, prioritize yourself. If you get into the shit, right, have a look in the mirror and be so fucking honest with yourself. Like, I was in denial. I wouldn't look in the mirror because I knew that I didn't like what I saw. But I looked in there one day and I stared at myself and I thought, what the fuck happened to you, Nick? This is not you. You are the strong leader that people come to for advice, that you can give them cold, hard truths to better themselves. That is the person that I am. I know who I am. I've done the work on myself. And I'm still doing the work on myself. And hopefully I can make another video like this more in the years to come, when I'm even more experienced. Because now that I've gone through the shit, I'm hungrier than ever to get back to where I was physically, mentally, financially, and relationally. Is that a word? You know what I mean. Relationships with the people around me. Because I let my emotions get the better of me in the last couple of years, especially when I didn't prioritize myself. I got mentally weak, and so I was acting on emotion. Like, what the fuck, man? I'm usually the guy that controls his emotion and uses them in a positive light to get better, and that's what every single man should be doing. Every man should be using pain as motivation to be better. And I've said that my whole life, since I was young enough to be the craziest motherfucker to ever do what I was focusing on. And people around me will know that I was fucking crazy, and I still am fucking crazy when it comes to that shit, man. So yeah, bro, there's more of a long form content. Watch it all the way. I think it can help a lot of people, no matter which stage you're at, because I've seen a lot of people that are killing it right now, but I see myself in them. When I was killing it, I just gave everything to everyone, and I stopped prioritizing me, and that was my biggest downfall. But I didn't know any better, because I didn't have anyone else steering me the right way. So it was all very confusing. I let my emotions get the better of me. I was acting on emotions, which is just so toxic and bad to do that. It literally amazes me when they say, you know, men need to act on their emotions. No, they don't. What they need to do is use you act on your positive emotions. Show that shit, man. You know, if you do something awesome and you're like, yeah, man, you show that shit. But the negative ones, you have to use as motivation to get better. And you almost have to be so realistic with yourselves. And not enough people are realistic with themselves, especially in this modern day cuckold world that we live in. No one's realistic with themselves. Everyone wants the easy, oh, life's easy, you know. It's not easy. And that's the beauty of it. It's the beautiful thing about your life as a guy is it's not easy. That's the amazing thing. The amazing thing is it's a challenge every day. Men love a challenge. Don't give up the fight. Everyone's fight is different to others, but never give up the fight. You give up the fight, you will undo that 10 years of work that you did on yourself in one or 2 years, and you will completely undo it. And I think I was almost there, man. And that was the moment that I looked in the mirror, I punched myself in the face, again, not physically, and I just said, you are fucking disgusting. How could you do this to yourself? How could you become this person? And so every day, that's my pain and that's my motivation to put that energy into bettering myself in the situations that I fell down on. And I'm not a selfish person. Even now, while I'm still building myself back up, I'm still giving what I can to others. Like doing this video is very giving because people will be relating to this like no other. If they can relate to this, that's me giving a lot of value to them, because maybe they're going to look in the mirror and go, what the fuck have you done to yourself? And I really hope you get to that point and you take up the challenge and you say, I'm going to get back to where I was. Or maybe you just know that you need to get better and you know that you're better inside. But we got one shot at this. We got one shot at this life to live the best experience that we can. And taking drugs and all this sort of bullshit is not going to fulfill you in any sort of a way. It'll give you a temporary emotion, but I guarantee for the next week after that, it's going to be one hell of a depressing, suicidal week where you'll make no progress whatsoever. You know, and I've seen that with so many other people. Again, for the caveat, I've never done drugs. I've never been into drugs, except for performance enhancers, obviously. But narcotics and stuff, I've never been into that shit. So, but this is just me seeing it from other people. So remember, guys, if you're on top right now, the only way to stay on top is to continue working on yourself and never give up the good fight. Always prioritize yourself. Give as much as you can to others. Give value. Give what you can to others in need. You know, give love, give support, but never take the eye off the ball that you are the priority. And if you do not put yourself as a priority, you're going to get creamed. And I think that's all I need to talk about today, because I'll probably end up just repeating myself. But if you need to watch that back over, guys, I know a lot of you can relate. I believe in you, bro. Genuinely. I believe in you. So I believe in myself. I believe in my team. I believe in the people around me. And you know, again, you might feel positive and pumped up after listening to this for the next 1 day, 2 days, but that has to last every day. And every day you wake up and it's a challenge, man. It's a challenge to get out of bed. It's a challenge to take on the day. But yeah, I'm not going to go much further than that today, guys. Like, yeah, I hope you took a lot from that. I really do. Fight every day, man. For all the best versions of ourselves, we can give so much to each other and we can all rise up together. Let's go.